This is the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition. Coming up.
The last letter would be ch, but it's written like C because ch, you will only find it in Montenegro.
That's around 20 beautiful beaches that we have around Budva. Pebbles, sandy, even tiny little rocky bays that us locals are trying to hide from tourists. It's quite difficult. Google Map knows everything nowadays.
They would always say he has a sword in one hand and a marriage contract in the other.
So sit back and enjoy the trip with David Harris and Mark Gordon. Well, this is the life, isn't it?
You know what? I wanted to go into a betting shop and put money on. I actually thought you were going to say, well, this is nice, isn't it? But you said this is the life, isn't it? But yeah.
It's too early in the day to do the, David, you know, that post. I was going to say postpartum, but it's not postpartum. It's postparendial.
Ah, you've learnt a word since podcast number 105, approximately.
The after dinner, after glass of whiskey following dinner sort of satisfaction. But no, this is a post-breakfast.
It's very nice. I've still got my I've only just woken up voice on, I think.
I've got my, if I were in Amsterdam or Jamaica and I were interested in that kind of edible, smokable weed, I'd be very relaxed. But
we don't need it here.
We don't touch that because we are in paradise.
You know, I was thinking about starting it with that song, Another Day for You and Me in Paradise. But that's about homelessness.
That's Phil Collins.
Yeah,
he can sing and you can't. And when you say it's a poem, it sounds awful.
Okay, do you think Phil Collins can sing? Answers on a postcard to markdavidpod@gmail.com or our social media @markdavidpod. Mark, where are we?
I don't know, but I'd like to see people send a postcard to an email address. You've not quite got how that mail thing works.
Mixed metaphors. So, where are we, Mark?
We are sitting on a balcony overlooking the Bay of Budva. Is it called the Bay of Budva? I think it is.
Yes, and a jacuzzi.
Well, I'm not overlooking the jacuzzi. The jacuzzi's next to me. And you'll be happy to know, listeners, we are not sitting in the jacuzzi.
Not this time, anyway. Over at 10 o'clock, there is a beautiful yacht moored in the middle of the bay. Just around the corner from there at, 9:45, is the old town of Budva, which we will be bringing to you later in this podcast.
Ironically, at 9:45, we're going to pick up a bus out of here.
We are.
We are on the balcony of our 2-bedroom apartment, which is apartment 10B, B3.
Oh, somebody might come knocking.
Eventually. Well, they already have been knocking, thankfully, because we are privileged enough to be getting breakfast on the balcony.
It's fab. This is how are we pronouncing it? We're saying Dukley.
Dukley,
which is Dukley, Dukley Hotel and Resort on the, as Mark said, Bay of Budva. We've got a 180-degree view where we are now. It is on sort of 3 sides of 180 degrees. Mountains, green, lush mountains. The town of Budva at the foot of these hills. And then off to our left around the corner just opens up the Adriatic Sea heading down towards Albania and Greece and the Mediterranean Ocean.
the sea looks peaceful at the moment. We saw someone swimming about 10 minutes ago. But other than that, it's empty. It's very calm. It is like a lake. There's no waves.
It's very sheltered. The swimming is totally safe. The water is pristine. You can see straight down, certainly at where we are, to the shingle and the rocks at the bottom. It's very, very peaceful. We're using this hotel as our base for a little bit of exploration over the next couple of days.
And if you want to find out more about the hotel, go back to our previous pod recorded in the Dukley Hotel, and you'll also find out about our special offer to book there. Up until the end of September, you can get 20% off as a listener if you put in the code Shalom20 into their website.
That's September of 2025. But today, we're heading out. Where are we going? What are we doing?
We're going on a little trek outside of Budva to the medieval capital of Montenegro.
We actually don't know anything about where we're going other than what Mark's read on Wikipedia.
So we're going to find out a little bit more about the history of Montenegro.
What's the name of the place we're going to, Mark?
Is it Cetinje? I don't know.
No, I'm keeping that bit in.
Don't. Cetinje.
We'll find out if Mark's pronunciation.
We're going to Cetinje, David, which is the ancient, medieval, certainly not the modern capital of Montenegro, which is Podgorica.
So we're doing that first. Then a bit of our prerequisite wine tasting, I believe.
Get a lunch first, because you don't want to do wine tasting on an empty stomach.
I don't mind. And then we will also take you into the old town of Budva.
And if we're really lucky, we might fit in a boat trip as well.
Ooh. Before we go to the first jingle or ad break or whatever it is that we do at this point, do you have a quiz question?
Funnily enough, I do.
Wow.
I've never turned up to this podcast without a quiz question.
Well, I've done a couple of them. Yours are better.
Yeah, you do a couple when I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
When I'm in that post-dinner feeling.
Postprandial.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So, what's the question, Mark? Stop filibustering. There you go. There's the word for today.
I'm trying to get us to our hour limit. We're a little short of material this morning. Not really. By the way, it's David's birthday, which obviously, as this is a timeless podcast, you know, it isn't his birthday by the time you're listening to it. But I have the privilege of sitting here next to David on his birthday as he enters his 30th year.
Yeah, double it. Actually, it wouldn't be double it, because doubling your 30th year would be your 59th year, right? Yeah. And I'm going into my 60th. That was really good on my part.
I didn't want to pull you up. You picked it up there.
Unusual.
How old is David is the quiz question.
Back to what Mark was saying. I'm going to disagree with him. Whenever you hear this, it's my birthday. So mail me with a postcard to markdavidpod@gmail.com.
And if you want to buy David a present, it's at buydavidapresent.com, a website which hopefully we'll have set up by the time you do
Oh my
that.
gosh, is there a question?
Yes.
The tape recorder's going to stop.
Now, David.
Do you think anybody laughs at the podcast apart from you and me?
Do you think we're still listening? They've just given up because they're like, I want to find out about Montenegro. These two people are just chuntering on. I said we were going to Cetinje, which I'll also find out I've mispronounced, which is the old royal capital of Montenegro.
Mm-hmm.
There is a famous Montenegrin artist called Miodrag Đurić, who was born in Cetinje.
If that's how you pronounce it.
He later became a famous surrealist artist in France before he died there. What name did he paint under, or what was he known as?
What name did he paint under? Waterloo train station.
Happy editing, David.
The really funny thing is, you just said happy editing. I was just going to say, listener, if you knew how many edits go into this podcast, the answer at the end of the pod.
The question is, do you edit out the bit about editing?
This is Mark Gordon from the Jerusalem Post Podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod, or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
We're in the land of golf carts.
Well, there's one golf cart, and we're the slowest car on the street at the moment.
Yeah, but at the hotel, how many buggies did we go in?
Well, thankfully there are 10 or 12 buggies buzzing around the hotel, which is quite important because the hotel is on the side of a hill, but the golf buggies can get you to most places.
We've left the Budva area behind and climbed in a vehicle, thankfully. We went up steep, vertiginous mountainsides to the most staggeringly amazing view of the entire Bay of Budva.
Spell vertiginous, David.
Vertiginous.
Oh, well done.
Spelling bee.
I'd like a definition, please.
It's from the French word vert, meaning green, with igneous at the end. And I don't know, igneous is a type of rock.
As in indigenous.
Yes.
So
And listen, we're about to get out of the golf buggy and meet somebody, so let's quickly explain where we are.
we have come to the royal capital of Montenegro, Cetinje.
You've learned how to say it properly.
Well, I've heard it about 80 times already, so I finally learned how to pronounce it. I'm getting a thumbs up from the 8 people in our golf
Yeah,
cart.
it's amazing. We have so many beautiful people who have met us, and everybody here who works in the tourism in Cetinje is impeccably dressed. It's worth coming to Cetinje just to see the outfits, really.
Yes, I'm walking around in a t-shirt and shorts, and I am shaming the podcast here.
Actually, Mark is walking around in the official podcast t-shirt should. If you want a copy, we've actually not started making any yet, but you can walk around the entire world with photographs of Mark and David on. Anyway, that's all about us, and what we want to talk about more is Cetinje. And as one of our guides, whom you're going to meet in a little while, pointed out on the way up here, the cultural, historical root of everything Montenegrin. In terms of this country, to the north, that's the agricultural heart, but it's really at Cetinje where the first printing press in the Balkans, famous writers, and indeed wonderful architecture that we're surrounded by right now, this is where it all came from. And as Mark indicated in his comment, it's also the royal place. It's where the kings, the different dynasties or dynasties were based over the centuries, going back as far as the 15th century.
Enough of us winging it. Let's hear from our guide in the golf buggy who will explain what there is in Cetinje.
We are now approaching Cetinje Monastery. The monastery of Cetinje is a symbol of Montenegrin spirituality, love of freedom and enlightenment. Bishop Daniel Petrović.
That was the voice of our guide as we went around this beautiful historical capital of Montenegro, Cetinje. And now we're going to find out who she is.
Hello everybody, my name is Bojan and I'm currently doing an internship in the tourism organization of our old royal capital, Cetinje.
We're interviewing you in the shadow of a statue just behind us. Who is that?
That is the founder of our town, Ivan Crnojević. And the statue, as you can see, it represents him holding a sword and a shield. Shield as a form of protection, protecting our city.
Behind us right now, there's yet another group of children. I'm guessing this is the place in the country that everybody comes to find out about the history?
I think it's the same group of children. They just walk them around the square to make it look busy.
Every June, schools all around Montenegro bring all the children to Cetinje, because now that everybody has a chance to come here. So there are school excursions that bring all the kids to see the old royal capital.
I've decided to visit Cetinje for the day. What will I see?
A lot. You start your tour by seeing the King Nicholas Museum. King Nicholas had 12 children.
Wow.
Yeah, and 9 of them were daughters and 3 sons. And everybody joked he was the father of Europe because he was really good of marrying his daughters. They would always say he has a sword in one hand and a marriage contract in the other.
You've seen the museum. What else are you going to see?
A lot of former embassies, as well as French embassy, English embassy,
Whoa!
Russian embassy, Bulgarian, Belgium, Serbian.
The French one was stunning.
It was beautiful.
One of the things to note about Montenegro, like many other countries in Europe, is the amount of times that it was conquered or ruled by different leaders from different parts of the world. So I know the Austro-Hungarians were here, the Ottomans were here.
Yes, that's true. And I think that formed us, every single one of us, and every future one of us. We are delighted to be fighting for freedom and for our country, you know. We are now independent since 2006, and we celebrate that in a grand way. Every year in the 21st of May, we make a great celebration here in Cetinje, and the whole country comes to celebrate the independence of Montenegro.
Are you from Cetinje yourself?
Yes, I am.
And you're staying here, you're investing here because you believe in the city?
Yes, I do. I like traveling, but every time I return, I get new ideas. That's why I'm part of a tourism organization of Cetinje, because I really want to do something better for this city. And I'm really glad when I see 2 people coming here and enjoying it. I can see it in your eyes that you like it here, and that makes my heart full.
We went past another museum, the Money Museum. David and I always love a museum that's not like a standard museum. What's in the Money Museum?
In the Money Museum, you can see all of the currencies, as you said, from the Ottoman Empire, Austro-Hungarian, and when Montenegro gained its independence.
I always love to go to a market or shops when
You
I go
love
and
to
visit.
do lots of things.
Yeah, just not travelling with you, but, you know, I do it for my art. If somebody's coming here and they like to shop or buy souvenirs, is there a market here?
Yes. Every Friday, since Cetinje is a small town, only once a week, every Friday, we have a green market. because around Cetinje is really good geologically located. So we have National Park Skadar Lake, it's like 20 minutes away from Cetinje, and everybody who lives there, they fish. And every Friday they come here and they sell their fish. So in Cetinje, basically, fresh fish you can get only on Friday.
If you don't like fish, you go green. That's why it's called the green
yeah.
market.
Or that's why in the 21st century we have freezers, I guess. If anybody would like to know more, whether they're planning on coming or just are at home and want to learn about your city, is there a website, is there a place that they can do so?
Yes, cetinje.travel. You can find all the information there.
And that is Cetinje, CETINJE.travel. And thank you so much for having it on your shirt, otherwise I would never have been able to spell it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here.
Certainly will. Thank you.
To talk the latest news in Israel, the Jewish world, and everything in between.
This is the J-Post Podcast. I'm Tamar Uriel-Beery, Deputy Editor-in-Chief of the Jerusalem Post.
And I'm Tzvika Klein, Editor-in-Chief of the Jerusalem Post.
And I'm Sarah Ben-Nun, Night Editor at the Jerusalem Post. Join us as we bring some of the most impactful voices to bring you into what it means to be Jewish, to be Israeli today.
Every week, we bring you with us into the newsroom in every sense.
Stop being so dramatic. This is just our coffee break.
You can find us every Thursday on jpost.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll see you there.
Yalla, bye.
We just visited the King Nicholas Museum, which we already heard a little bit about, and I'm assuming that because it's called the King Nicholas Museum, it's...
David, it's King Nicola. Try listening instead of being on your phone when we go around here.
Hang on, but you said King Nicholas Museum.
Yeah, it belongs to him.
Now, I'd been practicing, our main guide, we've got a guide for the day. I've been practicing her name, had it in my head, before I started messing up the name of the famous monarch of this part of the world. And I can just about remember her first name, but the last name has utterly gone. So, Susanna, you're going to introduce yourself.
My name is Susanna Jonlekic.
Where is that name from, if I'm allowed to ask?
Sure, if you are asking me in Montenegrin language, I would say Jonlekic. But if you would ask me in my first language, it would be Jonlekaj.
Your first language is Albanian, right?
That's right.
Not going into the politics at all, but it's a very complicated part of the world in terms of languages. So, for example, here we see that a lot of the signs are written in Cyrillic and also Latin characters.
Yes, it is. As you can see, we are here in front of the King Nicholas Museum. In the upper side, you can see in Montenegrin language, it's written Muzej Kralja Nikole in Cyrillic, and in the downside, you can see King Nicholas Museum, as normally it's written in Latinic letter. But yes, if we're talking about the Montenegrins, we have those two letters.
What is the building that the museum is housed in? It's a beautiful building, a lovely brick red exterior with cream on the front and black lead tiling on the roof. It looks very interesting. What is it, or what was it?
It's keeping all the furniture and all the things that are important about the dynasty. The King Nicola had 12 kids, and the dynasty is very complicated and very interesting. You can see different things inside, from weapons, traditional clothes, furnitures, interesting carpets, something that is connected to Montenegrin culture, and also a lot of jewelry and coins, weapons, as I said, and also interesting pictures from the painters that are showing some traditional moments of Montenegrin families. And as you had seen, they had moments that they were keeping like family, talking, playing music. And I also showed you the picture where they were playing a traditional instrument, a gusle, that is very typical Montenegrin. And that would be, in general, some basic information about the museum.
You get the feel of the history of Montenegro here, because not only do you have Montenegrin dress and coins, You have Austro-Hungarian furniture, you have pictures of the Russian Tsars, flags and emblems from the Ottoman Empire. You really get the feel of the history of the area.
The whole Cetinje is that kind of place where you can see different sides of Montenegro, complicated history, interesting things and interesting buildings that are made and designed specifically in Austrian-Hungarian style.
Just one thing I would bear in mind with the museum, make sure you know when to come, check on the website, because there do seem to be, especially in June, lots of school groups coming, there are cruise parties that are turning up, so you need to make sure before you come that there is space and availability at the museum, because there is a big queue at the moment.
Here's the marketing blurb. Cetinje, as busy as the Vatican.
The chairs here are quite funky. They're tartan, and embroidered on the back are some pictures of foxes with monocles.
We've opened a fine rosé from the Pays-d'Oc region of southeastern France.
To stand in front of the Birth of Venus by Botticelli and just take it in.
Turning their backs on these magnificent architectural wonders, and all they want to do is have that Instagram moment.
I listened to the guide for 2 minutes while I was on Wikipedia.
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition with Mark Gordon and David Harris. So that I don't mess it up in a couple of minutes' time, I'm going to say it now. Czarnojevica.
Czarnojevica. It's the name of a lovely river that we've just walked down. Oh, hello. Sorry, we're in the back of a car and a very large van has come to us and we're on a single lane. So now we're rolling back down a hill near the edge of a cliff.
But with a man who, we're told, knows how to drive. In fact, he drives fairly often all the way from Montenegro to the United Kingdom. And it takes 3 days. I didn't even find out if he sleeps in that period or not. But let me just explain as we continue to roll down the hill. We set off from what you and I think of as being fairly normal roads, maybe 10 kilometres back. And then we've been heading since then down what really is a single track. And this great big Mercedes van to our left. And I should say there are other excellent brands of van available. And we just managed to get past it. Well, before we tell you where we're headed, how was lunch?
Lunch was lovely on the bank of the river, and on the river itself there is a bridge, and the bridge is known as Stary Most, which means old bridge. When we've been in Poland before, and the old town centre is called Stary Rynek, so the word Stary is familiar, and Most I hadn't come across before. But then if you go to Bosnia, there's a place called Mostar, and the Most there means bridge, and Star means Stary, old, so old bridge. Fascinating.
There are a lot of words that are familiar, and if you happen to be a Yiddish speaker, not that I could actually find any right now, but apparently, given the partially Slavic roots of Yiddish, you might find words that are somewhat familiar in this part of the world. So the lunchtime menus at the restaurants alongside the river, funnily enough, focused on fish. Two in particular, one eel, the other carp. In addition to that, lots and lots of yummy salads.
And cheeses. It's very much the river fish, probably taken straight from the river, but better than all of that was the chocolate cake at the end.
And now we're off to a winery. You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition.
We are in the beautiful Italian city of Napoli.
We're in downtown Dubai.
We are at the Mountain Dew Synagogue in Baku.
We are in the magnificent city Krakow.
The Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition brings you the joys of travel and tourism. So why not subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts?
So we are here in the traditional winery called Vukmirovic. We are here with the owner of the winery, who is called Alexander Sasha Vukmirovic. So this is a typical Montenegrin vineyard where they are keeping all the alcoholic type of wines and schnapps, and they are also producing liquors and honey. As they said, they have this vineyard since 9 generations in the history. As we can see, they have all typical wines of Montenegro.
Tell us a little bit about the building we're sitting in.
We are in a whole old house that is now reconstructed for the keeping of the wine. This one is old. They used to live here like 4 generations. By time they have left, as like the families have made their own families, so now they're only keeping it like a place where is wine staying. Mr. Sasha said that they are having different types of wine and their production it in their own way. They used to also keep the animals for the meals, but not for salary, only for their own needs.
Životinje su se držale samo za sopstvene potrebe.
How important is it to keep alive the memory of what generations gone by did, the way people lived, the way people worked, the way people dressed?
The way they are keeping it alive, it's some kind of the respect of their family and their roots. So they are trying to keep everything alive. It's not only for the salary, it's also a part of their memory, their respect, and a part of traditional Montenegrin lifestyle.
We're in a beautiful location. When you're outside, you see the mountains around you. It's very green. You're very lucky to live here. People aren't just going to walk past your house. How do they come to this area and how do they find out about it?
So most of the people that they are finding them here are coming by internet and by the recommendation over there. But the special thing about this place is the people who are coming, but they are not leaving their impressions in the internet. They are showing their impressions by the books, and that is something that is special only in their hearts and something that they are keeping their own special price of their own production and everything that they are doing. So even the other generations from people who already have been here are coming back because they took good impressions and they are recommending it to other people, to their friends, to people in their country. So yes, the people are coming back even if they have been once here.
If you're looking for it on the internet, let me try and do this, and if I get it wrong, you can correct me. It's Vukmirovic, Vukmirovic.
And in the last letter would be Ch, but it's written like C, because Ch, you will only find it in Montenegro.
So Vukmirovic.
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 And now it's time for a degustazione. We're going to have a taste. We are, as you've already gathered, in a beautiful room surrounded by bottles of wine, not just bottles of wine, but also liqueurs of all different types. There are also historic artifacts. There is a family dress that was worn by your great-grandmother. And now Sasha is holding a bottle of wine. And I should say, yet again, there is some amazing Montenegrin cheese on the table with some lettuce and some fruit to accompany the degustation.
We are starting our degustation with the white wine. As I can see, the color is something between the yellow and white. And as Sasha said, the wine is made from Chardonnay and special white grapes that doesn't have actually a specific name.
Is the grape that doesn't have a specific name native to this part of Montenegro?
Yes, it's here by generations, but it doesn't have some specific name.
Maybe you should name it after your great-great-grandmother.
We're not going to change the history. The grapes actually doesn't have the name, so it will be unknown white grapes.
Folks, what we're going to do is what we always do at this point. We're going to turn off the microphone and we'll get back to you quite soon after degustationing. Oh, Mark.
I'm so sleepy.
Sasha and family are not only great growers of grapes and producers of wine, but Sasha also has a fantastic sense of humour. And even when there can be a language barrier, sometimes body language, the occasional word and just, alcohol makes a situation absolutely wonderful.
It's baking hot outside and we're in this wonderful building. It's really cool. And for that reason alone, I don't want to leave. I just want to spend the rest of the afternoon here surrounded by these wonderful bottles of alcohol. We've got a couple to take home as well. The apple rakia possibly might not make it all the way back to Israel, but it's certainly leaving here today. I love coming to these places, but particularly something so personal, a family winery and distillery. It's just fascinating.
Thank you to you for your time. Thank you for your wife, who, well, she was a real sport because we were giggling sometimes at her expense, but it's been a lovely experience. The cheese, fabulous. The wines, just beautiful. The aromas. And as Mark said, we have something to take home with us to remember our time with you. So thank you very much indeed. And do you remember the name of the winery by any chance?
Of course. How could I forget it?
Because it's written on the bottle that you're holding.
You are such a horrible person. It's Vukmirovice. No?
Try again.
Vukmir.
Okay, never mind. What's the name of the place?
Vinaria Vukmirovic.
Vinaria Vukmirovic. There you go, yeah.
I said that at the beginning.
Thank you very much. You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast, Travel Edition. We're now going to take a very quick break from our whistle-stop tour of seeing the area of Budva and around in this beautiful country and head for a meeting with the Minister of Tourism for the country, Simonida Kordić. Thank you very much indeed for agreeing to speak to us on the podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure talking to you.
When we told friends we were coming to Montenegro, there was a high level of recognition amongst our friends in Israel and elsewhere around the world. Why is it that your country is becoming so popular?
Oh, it's really delightful to hear you say that. And yes, I agree. Our records also show that Montenegro is becoming increasingly popular with tourists all over the world, but especially with Israeli tourists. We are noting a considerable degree of numbers going up in terms of the number of Israeli tourists. And also the feedback shows that there is a high degree of satisfaction with services and the overall experience in Montenegro. Montenegro is quite exceptional in terms of being a virtual toolbox of various natural beauties, cultural heritage, also the number of options that people can experience during their stay in Montenegro. It's a very, very small country. It takes about not more than 3.5 or 4 hours to drive from one end of the country to the other. Wherever you stay in Montenegro, you can actually, within an hour or 2 hour drive, experience various contexts. For example, you can have your morning coffee in the beautiful UNESCO protected Boca Bay, sipping it, say, at the terrace of a medieval city of Peras, overlooking 2 beautiful islands in the middle of the bay with medieval churches on them. And then spend an afternoon hiking amongst the untouched natures of the Mount Durmitor and have a swim in one of the clear, absolutely pure glacier lakes, while enjoying the beautiful fruits of gastronomy of the northern parts. Whatever your tastes are, you can actually fulfill them in Montenegro and experience many different things, being very active, enjoying culture, enjoying natural, simple, honest-to-goodness, field-to-table food.
You should be in tourism marketing, Madam Minister.
I'm doing my best.
I think most people, when they think of Montenegro, are going to think about the coast and the summer, the beautiful waters, but presumably it's not just a summer destination.
No, not at all. Increasingly, there is a notable interest of people actually visiting the central and the northern part of the country, where you can really spend beautiful vacations outside of just summer season. Naturally, winter season is also very important for us. We have a number of skiing resorts, but over and above that, all sorts of new touristic models that are really increasingly interesting for our visitors are available in Montenegro, such as hiking, mountain biking, horseback riding, to me, one of the most interesting models is actually experiencing the actual living culture of people who live in the northern parts of Montenegro. It's a bit of a time machine. It's the place where the way of life, as we remember it from 30, 40 or 50 years ago, is still live and kicking. People living on their family farms, having production of food, which actually is aimed at serving their family's needs. So it's very naturally produced, fairly small amounts of food of exceptional quality and beautiful taste. And also you can participate in some of the activities they do, such as making cheese or even spending time with them this is typically during summer, up in the mountains where they move from their bases in the villages, move with their cattle and sleeping under the stars, inhaling this really beautiful, clear air, consuming what nature really provides, and sharing that experience with people who are not doing that for show or for tourism, but that's the actual authentic experience that is actually quite an exceptional and hard to get thing in most developed European countries.
As you said earlier, it's a small country, and I think a lot of tourists, when they come, perhaps are saying, we can do Montenegro in 2-3 days. Obviously, you want them to stay as long as possible, and then we want to go to one of your neighbouring countries. How much do you pair up with other Balkan states, and how much do you prefer to just promote Montenegro?
You hit the nail on the head. That's something that I have noticed straight away, that tourists no longer stay put in one place and spend all their holidays in just one place. Especially tourists from long-haul markets, from Far East or the Americas, for example. You know how Americans, when they travel, they say we are going to Europe. France is too small for them. Spain is too small. Italy, let alone Montenegro. That's something that is just the fact of life. That is how it is. We are actually recognizing the need and the want of the tourists to travel around, to see more countries, and that's fair enough. Which is why we have started a project which we lovingly call Destination Balkans. It's a model of collaboration between Balkan countries. So far, we have taken the first steps with Bulgaria, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Albania, Greece, and Italy as well. The concept is based on the notion of my guest is your guest. We cater to that taste of the modern tourist to travel around, and we enable them to fly to, say, Montenegro, spend 3 or 4 days, then fly to Bulgaria, have a couple of days there, then they can go anywhere else, to Greece, Serbia, wherever. That actually eliminates unnecessary competition and promotes collaboration. So we all profit and benefit from it. And also, especially for countries such as Italy and Greece, which are very tourist intensive, it allows them to profit from visits, but then ease the pressure of pure numbers of tourists by redirecting them to some of the neighboring countries.
You mentioned North Americans and doing Europe. How accessible is Montenegro for somebody who's coming from the Americas?
It leaves something to be desired, to be quite frank. Although we are not an island, obviously we have a coastline, but we are a continental country. In terms of tourism, we are mostly effectively an island country. So most of our tourists are actually flying into Montenegro. We have 2 airports in the country, in the capital and one in the coastal region. And they actually service a couple million tourists per year, which is not enough. So what we are looking at is increasing the capacities and the level of services in our airports. The government is currently in the process of awarding concessions over airports. As a Minister of Tourism, I'm very much looking forward to that happening because we really, really need investment in that area. And also, obviously, investment in overall infrastructure, road network, etc., is something that is really necessary to happen. We already have a fairly good road network, but obviously, we need constant improvement in the field because things are changing and the increasing number of tourists are actually requiring the better and voluminous infrastructure. However, we are very close to 2 other very intensive airports. One is in Dubrovnik. It's about 40 minutes drive to Montenegrin border. And Dubrovnik actually is very well connected with the States and also Tirana. which is in Albania, which is a couple of hours drive from Montenegro. Again, promoting this collaboration model actually enables all of us to benefit from the infrastructure of all the countries. We are very well connected during summer holidays. We have about 50 flights from Podgorica, which is the capital, and about 45 from Tivat, which is the coastal airport, and during the winter season. What we need to work on and what we are working on is improving the number of flights in the off-season period.
And of course, off-season is often the best time to visit somewhere if you want to avoid the tourism rush. At the start of the interview, you mentioned in passing the Israelis, Jewish tourism and so on. It's growing. You've got all of these flights coming in. How important a market is that for you?
Israeli market, Israeli tourists is increasingly important for Montenegro, and there is a constant increase in interest and visits of Israeli tourists. Actually, this year, we had, in the first part of the year, we had an amazing increase of about 140%. So it's a lot compared to last year. The key factor that contributes to that is, first of all, very good air connection with Tel Aviv, between Tivat and Tel Aviv, which facilitates, it's easy to fly and travel. We are witnessing that Israeli tourists are really enjoying what Montenegro has to offer. They also tend, and I'm really happy about that, not to just stay on the coast, but they actually explore. And we have very good reports. They're happy with the services. We are a very hospitable nation, so I believe people feel safe and above all welcome in Montenegro. It works both ways. And we are actually paying special attention to Israeli market and are actually going to put more effort and more activities towards promoting Montenegro even further towards Israeli market.
If you have to sum up Montenegro for tourists in 3 words, which 3 words would you choose?
It's authentic. It is exclusive in most modern way. It provides for those experiences that are not readily available. It's not commercialized in that sense. Above all, it's beautiful and hospitable.
That's 4 words, but we'll let you have them. What did we have? Authentic, exclusive, beautiful, and hospitable? It absolutely is. Loving every moment in your country. Minister of Tourism, Simonida Kordić, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Budva Fact File. The closest airport to Budva is Tivat Airport. Apart from regular flights from Belgrade and Istanbul, most of the traffic is seasonal. There are flights from Tel Aviv with Arkia, Israel and Sundor. There are also seasonal flights from many European cities, including Vienna, Berlin, London, Manchester, Paris and Barcelona. Podgorica Airport in Montenegro's capital has year-round flights from Zurich, Rome, Vienna, London Stansted and Milan. There are even direct flights from Newark to Dubrovnik Airport, which is around 2 hours from Budva. Budva is around a 30-minute drive from Tivat Airport. The bus from Tivat to Budva, Autobuska Stanica, takes a similar time and departs hourly. You can also reach Budva from the Dukley Resort by way of water taxi. We stayed at the Dukley Hotel and Resort. Dukley is a 5-star luxury family resort in Budva, Montenegro, with 3 private beaches, 6 restaurants, 3 hotels and a spa centre. Listeners of this podcast can get a 20% discount through to the end of September 2025 by booking on the Dukley website and using the code SHALOM20. The currency in Montenegro is the euro. $100 will buy you 88 euros as of June 2025. Budva has an Adriatic climate with mild rainy winters and hot sunny summers. Average temperatures in January are around 8 degrees Celsius, 46 degrees Fahrenheit, while in July it is around 28 degrees Celsius, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Fish is the dish of choice on the Adriatic coast, with influences of Italy and Turkey. Seafood risottos, fish soups and stews abound, as well as spinach borek and excellent cheeses. The Shalom Kosher restaurant at the Dukley Hotel Chabad Center offers 5-star breakfast, lunches and dinners. Shabbat meals can be booked through Chabad of Montenegro.
Finally, you can stop annoying me.
Why? What have I done?
You have spent the last 2 days while we've been in this beautiful country trying to find a word that links between Yiddish, Hebrew, and the local lingo.
We have a real problem that we might have to bleep out the translation into English of this word.
So it took us a trip into the citadel, onto the city walls, walking past a pile of dog's mess to find that word. Because the Yiddish word for a mess is a balagan. And we learnt in Polish that bałagan also means mess.
And our guide through Old Town Budva, with the amazing name of Yugoslava Markovic, is going to tell us the equivalent word in Montenegrin.
Balaga, explaining the mess.
There you go. I didn't know that.
You didn't know the word.
Let's not go there.
Now you can stop on that question and move on to some proper questions.
Okay, so first of all, Yugoslava, thank you very much indeed for being our guide. Before we turned on the microphone, we didn't just get a whole list of Hebrew words that Yugoslava knows, but we actually got into talking about the script of Fawlty Towers,
Only Fools and Horses,
and a variety of other British TV shows.
Little Britain.
If you had a group visiting from anywhere in the world, what are the top 2, 3, 4 things you're going to tell them when they first arrive in Budva?
First, what they say is the old town, which is one of the oldest settlements at the Adriatic, beautifully preserved with amazing city walls, little squares and narrow streets with shops and all these amazing places. Also surrounded by beautiful beaches. That's something we don't miss. As you hear in the Adriatic Sea, there is always opportunity to dip yourself in the sea, but also there are many, many hidden gems in this tiny, tiny old town.
Walking round, a lot of it is just about the view. It's finding viewpoints to see this amazing bay and this amazing city. We've made it to the city walls. Can you tell us the history of the city walls?
Yeah, the city walls date back to 9th century, but the way they look now, it's from 17th century, because in the past, at a time, there was a huge earthquake which ruined the previous city walls. So somewhere in 17th century, they were extended, strengthened, and that's how they look now. They were nicely preserved, maintained very well, and they offer us very nice views of untouched nature, beautiful mountains, the seaside, the coastline, the tiny island that we have around. And apart from that, there are so many tiny little streets off of the main tourist spots that you can enjoy and wander around without being in the crowd.
In 60 seconds, I'll even give you 120. I want to know the history of Budva.
Budva was formed as a little settlement 2,500 years ago. Proof for that is archaeological site just next to the old town, the old necropolis. Also, through the history, it was occupied and ruled by many different rulers. We had Slavs, Illyrians, Romans, Greek, Austro-Hungarians, Venetians, you name it, we probably had it.
Ottomans.
Ottomans, not in Budva. Just 50 miles south from Budva, we did have Ottomans. That was a border between Venetian and Ottoman rule, because at the same time we had both of these in 2 parts of Montenegro. That's why Italian influence here regarding the way we live, some customs. We do have our beautiful carnival. It is held every year, not like Venetian in February, but 1st of May is the day when we organize our carnival. It's international, beautiful event. This year we had over 250 people coming from abroad. Even Brazilian dancers were here. Locals were also included. And big concert was there. We had a couple of DJs performing. And Sunday was reserved for kids' carnival. We'll teach our kids this tradition that we still have.
That was 125 seconds, so the next question has to be 5 seconds shorter. We came to the city walls from the citadel. What's in the citadel?
The citadel, the former fortress, from Italian cittadella, is the beautiful preserved fortress which used to be a place to hide in the past, occupied by many. Nowadays, it's a commercial place with a nice restaurant, remains of the old church, library, museum, amazing view from the top. That's the highest point of the town, and also it's perfect setting for the wedding or some kind of event.
We noticed that around 11, 12 o'clock it was really busy. Now I know we're beginning to get to the peak time. What advice do you have for tourists who maybe want to come at a slightly quieter time, but they're still coming at that height of summer?
The best time to have a holiday here would be beginning of June or somewhere September, October. Mid of June, July and August, it's the high season, very busy, very noisy. A lot of clubs, pubs, nightclubs, casinos. We are like Las Vegas of Montenegro with all these casinos. So there are many things you can do here. Young people just love it in the peak season. Bear in mind, it's quite hot, 42 degrees Celsius.
That's around 100 it gets up to.
100 Fahrenheit, yeah. 100 Fahrenheit.
What separates Budva from Kotor or Tivat as a place to come?
What Tivat or Kotor don't have, that's around 20 beautiful beaches that we have around Budva. Pebbles, sandy, even tiny little rocky bays that us locals are trying to hide from tourists. It's quite difficult. Google Map knows everything nowadays. But anyway, beautiful beaches, nightlife, it's a different vibe in these towns. Kotor is very quiet. 11ish in the evening, almost everyone is going to bed after dinner in the restaurant. It's like Dubrovnik when you compare it. But Budva is something different.
Discover the future with Inside Israeli Innovation. I'm Eve Young from the Jerusalem Post, bringing you exclusive insights from Israel's top innovators. Each week, we dive into the latest trends in tech, business, and beyond with interviews from the brightest minds in the industry. Whether it's cutting-edge startups or revolutionary tech breakthroughs, Inside Israeli Innovation is your front row seat to the startup nation. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform and stay ahead of the curve. Inside Israeli Innovation, where innovation meets inspiration.
After you last heard from Yugoslava, we wandered the walls. We got some great views out to the water, to the mini super yachts that are in the marina, and we got some more of the story of the development of this place. While we were talking in general, we touched on something interesting. You're not somebody who likes to tell listeners, your visitors, dates. Why not? Why isn't it important what happened in 1436?
No one will remember the dates, but the stories they will remember, especially if you add some anecdotes, you add some less known stories about certain events. That's more interesting because dates anyone can Google and check and forget immediately after doing so. So it's more important to tell them interesting story than to bore them with dates.
What's your favorite story from Budva?
To be honest, I love them all. Phoenician period was quite interesting here, and also younger generations, they love when I speak about pirates that attacked the town. That's quite interesting. Stories, what happened after the earthquake, how the town developed and what changed, that's also interesting for them. And telling them what was before the earthquake when people lived. This was a really nice community in the past. You had anything you needed in the old town. Now it's a different picture. Now it's all down to tourism, so instead of your favorite butcher or tailor, you have souvenir shop or coffee shop or ice cream place, Glida. So the town has changed. People love this comparison.
How much time should someone set aside to see the old city?
The average time would be 1 hour wandering around the streets and maybe leave yourself a couple of hours to indulge the food or the ice cream or good wine or the view. You know, a couple of hours, half a day would be ideal to spend, and maybe another half of the day at the beach or in some of these bars around.
What's the food like around Budva, and what kind of food would you recommend people look for?
Of course, the seafood, which we have a couple of these really nice restaurants. Apart from that, Italianish cuisine is something quite common here. So pizza places, pasta places all over. I prefer these pizzas and pastas, definitely. And we have quite few nice places for good cakes and ice creams.
We saw, as we were walking through the old city earlier this morning, somebody was stirring pasta inside a great big cutout Grana Padano cheese, and it looked amazing.
Yeah, you'll have to look at our social media for video at Mark David Pod. If you're planning on coming to Budva, maybe you want to stay in the Dukley Hotel and Resort, and you would love to be entertained by Yugoslava and have fascinating stories, how can people get hold of you?
You can contact me by my email or the phone number. I'm freelancer doing this job for over 17 years. Currently, I'm doing only Budva tours, so you can contact me and get the tour, special one. My email is yugoslavamarkovic@hotmail.com.
And you said a phone number, so what's that?
+382 69 052 986.
That would be Yugoslava, Jugoslava, and Markovic is Markovic. No gaps, no dots, just yugoslavamarkovic@hotmail.com.
yugoslavamarkovic@hotmail.com. Thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Thank you guys, it was a pleasure spending time with you. Enjoy the rest of your time in Budva and hope to see you again.
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
You know the song A Horse with No Name?
Yes.
We're on a boat with two names, Mia and Mattia.
And who are Mia and Mattia?
Mia and Mattia are the skipper's two children.
Ah.
Mattia,
who is with us wearing a Daffy Duck hat.
I think Mia's underneath paddling.
We are in the Bay of Budva. We took the water taxi across the bay from the Dukley into the area of the old town of Budva. And we picked up this particular lovely boat. We walked about, 150, 200 yards from the old town into the new town where there were lots and lots of restaurants. And there we were met by our lovely guides from the local tourism authority. And we're heading out into the bay.
We are indeed. Our lovely guides from the Budva Tourism Organisation, Ljubica and Bojan, have joined us. Bojan is built like me, so we've had to find the right positions on the boat.
To get the appropriate buoyancy.
Oh, very good.
Thank you very much indeed.
And Ljubica is more like you. She's a gentle soul.
In front of us, we have a tree-covered island, which, if you ever watch people who do ski jumping from a boat, like when you're doing water.
Oh, water skiing. It's like water skiing, but there's a ski jump with a water ski.
So there's a giant mountain that looks like one of those things that they fly up in the air off. But covered in trees. It's got a beach on it, it's got a boat on it. And around us are lots of small sailing vessels, but back in the port, in the marina, there are some, they're not super yachts, but there's some pretty large boats here.
Yeah, I think we're on one suitable for about 6 people for a 2-hour trip.
Yep.
Rather than moving in for the week.
Just behind you are the outer walls of the old town with a church spire behind. We had a drink a short while ago, and if I actually remember to go into my sound archive, I will play you here the enormous sound of church bells that suddenly erupted as we were having a drink whilst waiting for our meeting.
Did you get the man playing Zorba the Greek?
No, I recorded him just before when he was playing something less stereotypical.
With the music, and here, I think we've spoken about it with the cuisine. There's Turkish influences here, there's Italian influences, and of course there's Greek influences as well.
We'll hear more about this, I think, a little bit later on our tour, but this city was founded 2,500 years ago by people called the Illyrians, or Illyrians, who came to this area from Greece just down the road. More to come. Just listen.
I can't hear anything, David. I can hear waves, but like very gentle waves. But it's just peaceful.
I don't know how much you'll be able to pick up from the microphones, but we're in the middle of the water in the Budva region. We've come around a headland and an island. There are people in little caves. We were just in a cave that you can only get to by water, and there are 2 little spaces there, and our wonderful captain just said there's only room for 2 people in either of those spaces, so it got known as the Lover's Cave.
As we've gone around the bay, we found these little private beaches. If you hire a boat or you're taken on a boat, you can spend time on a solitary beach. There may be a restaurant there, but there'll be 20, 30 people. Just a chance to unwind. We were talking earlier about ideas for the future and the podcast, and it just dawned on me that because we've had this peace and this like tranquility around us, we can think.
So I said to Mark when he made that point, if you go back to some of the famous writers of the early 1800s, people like Lord Byron and Shelley from Britain, and they went off to Italy and other places, and yeah, part of the reason they were going was to find passion and fun, but they also wanted to find inspiration. And nobody's told us to say this, but when you come to a place like this, it's so close to Israel and it's very easily accessible from wherever you happen to be. It'll be a couple of flights to get to this part of the world, and you can just turn off. If you like sunbathing, if you want to swim, if you want to head into the hills, if you want to hike, if you want to see fortresses, it's all here. It's all very compact. This is a small country. It's just an hour to the capital. We were told the other day by a driver it takes about 4 hours from the bottom to the top to see all of Montenegro.
It's no coincidence that Archimedes had his eureka moment while he was on the Adriatic Sea. He probably had the peace and the time to think. And here we just having the opportunity to take in nature, take in the beauty of the earth, of the sea, the colours, the nature around us. It's wonderful. Wake up, David.
I'm tired. It's been hot. It's been happening. It's been a lot of fun. Budva and the region beyond has been very good to us.
Unlike the poor man on the water taxi, who was the last thing we saw before we came back to our hotel, as he was climbing on the Dukley water taxi to come back to this wonderful hotel, his mobile phone fell into the water. However, the very nice man driving the Dukley water taxi stripped off, put on his diving goggles and went diving under the boat.
I was so impressed, not just about the diving under the boat, but the way that he modestly stripped off. He got one of those beautiful big lounge towels that got the Dukley insignia on them, wrapped them around himself and then did a quick change.
That's marketing if ever I saw
Absolutely.
it. The Dukley insignia was there.
And he was buff, so it all worked together.
And showing a level of customer service beyond what one would expect.
That's Dukley for you. It's been great staying here. We need to say a quick thank you to everybody at Dukley, don't we, before we thank people in the region.
Yes, we need to thank Olga at Dukley, not forgetting the lovely Sophia, who we met about a month ago, who made all this happen.
And we have to then thank all of our wonderful guides over the last day or so.
Let's start with our guides in Cetinje. We had Bojana, who showed us around Cetinje, and Susanna from the National Tourism Organization of Montenegro, who kept an eye on us the whole day.
Where do you want to go next?
I think we should go to the winery, the Vukmirovic winery, and a big thank you to Sasha for giving up his time and plying us with lots of lovely wine and rakia and liqueurs and cheese.
And things that look like dates that apparently weren't dates.
But we still don't know what they are.
They grow on a bush and look and taste like dates. Okay, take us into Budva.
Budva, and a thank you to Bojan and Lubica, who kept an eye on us today, and the wonderful Yugoslava, who took us on a walk around Old Budva.
And let's, of course, finish on a special note to thank somebody who spoke to us from the national government.
Yes, we were honoured to speak to Simonida Kordić, who is the Minister of Tourism in Montenegro. Wow.
Folks, that's it for this time. If you remember the last time we did a podcast from this part of the world, I asked you to do one thing, which was to share. This time, what should we ask people to do?
People should follow us. Follow us on social media. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. Follow our podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts.
At Mark David Pod is the place to like and follow. At Mark David Pod.
Quiz question.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
So our question was, Cetinje, which we visited, has a very famous son called Miodrag Đurić. He was a surrealist artist, but by which name was he better known?
So he probably hung around with Salvador Dali.
Yes.
Well, I know the answer, but...
His wife was called Hesse. Did you know this?
No!
Hesse.
Did he have kids?
There was an Anne. Hesse Anne.
Oh, did he have kids?
5 of them, apparently.
What did they call him?
Dado.
Yes! is.
Momo and Dado.
Dado was his name. Isn't that a song? Dado was his name. It's time to say goodbye. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast from Budva and the Dukley Hotel and Resort.
David's been out in the sun too long. I'm going to throw him in the shower and cool him down. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.